ready for the Dr. Delatorro experience. Dr. Delatorro is easily considered one of the most dynamic, electrifying, and transformational communicators on the planet today, delivering over 4,000 documented paid presentations worldwide.
So if we can learn fear, we can learn faith, because the truth is we have to learn how to doubt our doubts. A negative times a negative is always a positive.
I forgot not to take notes. I'm like, where's my pen?
He is one of the best speakers in the world. And if you have an opportunity to have him speak for you, do not miss out on that opportunity to have him transform your audience into an army of people who say, let's march. It was mind-blowing. One of the most brilliant demonstrations of speaking I have ever seen in my life.
And I want you to pull down some brand new love and say yes. I want you to reach up right now and pull down fresh joy and say yes. Reach up right now and pull down a fresh passion for this industry as never before and say yes. And reach up right now and pull down some brand new creativity and say yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Dr. Delatorro.
Yay! What's going on, NSA? What's going on, Carolinas? Listen, I'm so pumped and excited. It's Dr. Delatorro. We're in the building. We're pumped and excited about this unique opportunity that we have to grow and learn together. Y'all, I'm excited. Put your hands together for Larry and all the leadership, y'all, that's responsible. Come off mute. I like to hear some energy. Come off mute. Give my homeboy Larry some love. NSA Carolinas, listen, I'm grateful all for being here. I'm pumped. I'm stoked. I'm excited. I'm ready. Get your pen, paper, get your journal. You're going to need it. The reason why I showed you that promo video in the beginning is because I really believe a strong promo video really sets the tone for your presentation. It sets the energy for your presentation. It sets the standard for your presentation. And it tells the audience what they can anticipate. And it also shows them, hey, listen, you're about business. You mean business, right? So I think that's a big, big deal. So always make sure you invest in really top quality videos. That video is only like a minute, right? But it's really it sets the tone for your programs. So Dr. Delatorro, really pumped and excited. This is my family, Miracle and Hope. I'm a dad of two incredible daughters. Miracle just turned 18, Hope is 16, and I have a fur baby. His name is Simba. It's the bow tie for me. It just kills me. That photo kills me every time, y'all. I'm raised by two really amazing parents, my mom and dad. I always honor my parents in my presentations because, write this down, NSA, it's vitally important that when we're giving amazing presentations, we are constantly building know, like, and trust factor. Please write that down for me. If you really want to be incredible on stage, you have to constantly be building know, like, and trust factor as you're presenting. So every slide, every video, every photo, you have to be able to answer the question, how is this building know, like, and trust factor in the mind of my audience? And I want y'all taking notes in the chat as well, right? So I want the chat exploding. I want you fully engaged, fully participating. You're going to take a ton of notes today, and I'm pumped and excited about it, right? So I was raised by two incredible parents. My mom was a Sunday school teacher and an English teacher. So if you're going to be Olivia's kid, you had to be able to talk. And if you were going to be my father's kid, I'm my father's only son. My father was shot in the upper back twice fighting for you and I in the Vietnam War, left on the battlefield for dead. This is a true story. They put my dad in a room of 600 dead soldiers. The only way they knew my dad was alive is because his eyes were blinking feverishly. And someone said, grab that one, grab that one. And so they pulled my dad out of a heap of dead soldiers. And my dad's been in a wheelchair. He's been confined to a wheelchair longer than I've been alive. But he's done more from a wheelchair than most people who are fully able-bodied. So my mom taught me how to speak and present, but my dad taught me how to persevere, how to never quit, and how to never give up. And so I learned two amazing lessons from both my parents, and they taught me how to find my flow at an early age. And so I'm very, very grateful to them. Now, that's my baby picture in the middle, but nobody came off mute in NSA Carolinas and said, oh, so I'm a little offended. I got to be honest, Larry, I mean, you didn't even say it. So, I mean, nobody in the chat said, oh, so, I mean, NSA, William, can I get Nora, can I get some, can I get an all from Lynn?
Oh my God.
I mean, come on, Ryan, Regina, Deanna, Sarah, Heather.
The side part is everything. The side part is everything.
You got to have the part. You got to have the part. So I'm grateful to my parents, and I always honor and recognize them. And my mom passed away 10 years ago. My dad's still alive, so I'm grateful for him. But my mom passed away 10 years ago. I love her so much. I talk about her in every speech, every podcast interview, every major national television interview. I always, in every presentation training, I always talk about my upbringing because
write this down, NSA. I believe that we should never let our audience celebrate our glory until they fully understand our story. I'm gonna say that again. I got my clapper. I don't wait for my audiences to clap for me. I clap for my daggum self. I'm gonna say that again slower. Never let your audience celebrate your glory, which is all the amazing stuff you've done, until they fully understand your story. What is the process that you've gone through? What is the journey that you've taken? Right. So my journey of learning how to crush the stage came from, so y'all, just to be clear, right? So not only are we one of the top keynote speakers in the world, but we also are one of the top speaker trainers in the world. Now, I didn't necessarily anticipate that I was going to achieve both in my brand at the same time. But 15 years ago, after I got my master's degree in curriculum design and instructional systems from Florida State, I made a decision that when I brought instructional design and curriculum thinking to my speaking career, I saw a lot of gaps. I saw a lot of holes. Now, I've been training speakers for over 15 years, long before it got popular on Instagram and Facebook. Now it's the popular thing to train speakers, but I've been doing it for over 15 years. And I got my start going to boot camps like this, when I learned from Les Brown and I learned from Dr. Willie Jolly with hair. If I can produce a picture with Willie Jolly, Dr. Willie Jolly with hair, you know that's something, y'all. We going way back, right? But I remember going to Les Brown's house in Potomac Falls, Maryland, and he was doing a speaker training, and he did it for like 6 people. And so I signed up, I went, and it was an incredible experience. And Les was there, he trained and taught, and Dr. Willie showed up, he trained and taught. It was an amazing, amazing experience. And then they encouraged me to go to my first NSA convention. So I went to my first convention in 2002, and it was amazing. I couldn't afford to go the first year I went. So it was in Orlando. So Willie said, whatever you do, just get in the room. So I put on a nice suit and I walked the lobby for free because I couldn't afford to pay for NSA back in 2002 when I went for back in 2002 when I went for the first time. So the first day that I got to the convention, I met Jack Canfield in 10 minutes, Devin Graham in 15 minutes, Zig Ziglar in 25 minutes, et cetera, et cetera. I knew I was home. And so I got involved in Toastmasters. I started competing, and I really started taking my speaking career a lot more seriously as a direct result of that. This is a photo of me at the NSA 2002 meeting. So here's what happened. I went for the first day and I was blown away. And I immediately went back to Tampa, drove back to Tampa after just walking the lobby. And I literally sold 3 things out of my garage to get enough tuition money to go back the next day and paid to go into the paid sessions. So I'm just showing you, this is a picture of me. You see Simon Bailey there. You'll see several people. I remembered in 2002 at NSA, look how grainy that photo is. So it shows you how far back we're going here. But I went to my first NSA convention in 2002, changed my life. And if we fast forward a couple years later, right, we had a chance to be one of the opening keynote speakers for Influence in 2023 on the main platform. I'm so very grateful for my NSA family. I've been a member of NSA for over 17 years. And we were honored to be inducted into the National Speakers Association Speaker Hall of Fame. And Black Enterprise did a full story on us. Being a single father, being inducted into the Hall of Fame, one of 9 living African-American Hall of Famers on planet Earth. And so I'm very, very grateful and honored for this incredible designation. But if we're going to crush the stage, family, I need you to understand something powerful. What you say to private corporate is going to be different than what you would say to colleges and universities. How you crush the stage at a college is going to be different than how you crush it at a university when you've got 7,500 freshmen in front of you. What do you do to crush the stage when you're talking to a room full of PhDs? This is about 1,500 people at the University of Maryland College Park, but everybody in the room's got a PhD. So when everybody in the room's got a PhD, how do you connect with people when everybody's super duper smart? How do you connect with associations when you're talking to basically 1,500 folks from 20 different countries all around the world? You can't speak an American message. You have to speak a universal message, a global message that reaches everybody. What about when you're doing leadership retreats? How are you going to incorporate experiential learning in leadership retreats to make sure that you take leaders and business owners to the next level? We also have had the fortunate opportunity to minister in churches. So I don't market and promote a lot of my ministerial credentials. I do have them. I'm not a pastor or anything like that, but I have gone through ministry training. And so because I've gone through ministry training, I do speak at mega churches. I do quote a fee. Write this down. I do quote a fee at mega churches. I don't do love offerings. I haven't done love offerings in 15 years. I explain to churches that I am a business and I function like a business. So just like they have to pay for toilet paper and they have to pay for lights, they got to pay for me to come in and impact their entrepreneurs. Come on, somebody. And this is an important lesson because y'all, at the end of the day, I know so many people who want to impact in the faith-based spiritual campus, whether it's a mosque or a spiritual campus or a church or a synagogue or whatever, they want to impact there, but they feel conflicted ministering with their faith. So I want to encourage you, if you go in there and you treat it like a business opportunity and not a fish fry, come on, somebody, you can get paid in the mega church space. And I want you to dream bigger about your speaking than you've dreamed up to this point, because every one of these photos that I'm showing you very intentionally because you can't unsee what you're seeing. And the reason why I'm showing you these photos is to show you different environments over the years that we've placed ourselves in. I've been a full-time speaker for 20 years in SA Carolinas, y'all. That's something to get excited about. So everybody y'all who's wondering, can you make it? Can you do it? Can you still be relevant? Can you blah, 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 blah. Full-time for 20 years, and I still feel like I'm just getting started. Come on, somebody. Hosting your own conferences. We've done our own infomercials, right? PBS quality infomercials, right? So I want write this down and put it in the chat because this is really powerful. Stop looking for the template when you are the template. I'm gonna say that again slower. Stop looking for the template when you are the template. If we're going to present every single one of these photos that I'm showing you, I have to prepare for these presentations in a very unique and different way. How you prepare for an infomercial is different from how you prepare for your own conference. It's different from how you speak to a church. It's different from how you do a leadership retreat. All of these are very different. And at the end of the day, I've been groomed by the greats. The legends poured into my career and poured into my life. And so now when I teach, when I speak with what it is that Brian Tracy shared with me, with what Bishop Jakes poured into me, with what Dr. Miles Monroe showed me and taught me, right? With what Bruce Wilkinson, the New York Times bestselling author of The Prayer of Jabez, so many other people have poured into me over the decades, and I've learned valuable lessons, and I like to share them with you, right? I love what Zig Ziglar taught me. He said, listen, if you just help enough other people get what they want in life, you will get everything that you want in life. So help enough other people and you will get it. Come on, somebody. Every one of you all as speakers needs to have a wall on your house of all the people that you admire, that you appreciate, and that one day you want to share the stage with. Come on, somebody. I need y'all to type this in the comments. Somebody say, I'm next. Put this in the comments. Put this in the comments. Say, I'm next. Put it in the chat, y'all, because I really believe that you could be inspired. I love what I do for a living. Every day I wake up, I get up, Larry, and I love what I do. I love this industry. I love this profession. Come on, somebody. I got invited. Y'all, I'm one of the very few speakers in the National Speakers Association to speak for the $1 Million Roundtable 4 times. Y'all, if you get MDRT stage once in your career, it's considered the Oscars, but we've had a chance to be on the main I'm not talking about breakout sessions. I'm talking about main platform. Come on, somebody. For $1 Million Roundtable, we've had a chance to do that 4 times now. And I'm really, really incredible. Our first opportunity was in 2015. We were in front of 10,000 financial professionals from 80 countries all around the world. And since then, I've had a chance to literally mentor 6 other NSA speakers who have now been on the main stage of the $1 Million Roundtable as well. Reality television, write this down, y'all. When you ask God to bless you with an incredible speaking career, you cannot tell God how big it gets. Y'all missing it. Come on, somebody. I need 10 of y'all to come off mute and say, that's right. I need 10 of y'all to come off mute and say, that's sure enough right. Come on, somebody.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
That's
When
right.
you say, come on now.
You preach
when you
it.
say God bless me with an incredible career, you don't get a chance. I didn't know I was going to do reality television until the idea hit me with it, right? I didn't know I was going to do infomercials till the idea came. I didn't know that I was going to do MDRT till those doors opened up. So my point is, be excellent. Show up and be excellent in this industry. And my friend, there is no limit to what you can do. I promise you, there is no limit to what you can do when you learn to crush the stage. So we're going to cover about 5 different things today. We're going to talk about how to structure a killer keynote. We're going to talk about how to really leverage audience psychology. I'm going to talk a little bit about neurolinguistics, which is about how to basically leverage the language of the unconscious mind in your presentations. We're going to talk about visual aids, and we're going to close out talking about story selling. Not storytelling, but story selling, okay? So let's jump right in. Y'all, our industry has shifted radically. The truth is, because of YouTube, because of reality television, because of TED and TEDx, because of Skype, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, right? Google Meet, right? Et cetera, because of CEOs from big companies coming out of these corporations, coming straight into the speaking industry, athletes coming straight out of the Olympics, coming straight into the speaking industry. Y'all, our industry has shifted, and we have to be more relevant now than ever before. So I firmly believe, I've never read this in a book, but I'm getting ready to teach you some content that I teach in my Coveted Crush the Stage 4-day training, right? And I'm going to teach you some stuff that I really believe is important. I believe that there's 8 different ways that you can do this business. And I think it's really, really important that you get clear about which way you want to do this business so you can do it in the most powerful and profound way. Scripture says in Psalms that he or she must be like a tree planted by the rivers of living waters. So if we're going to be like a tree, I need you to understand something, NSA. I've never seen a tree come out of the ground with multiple trunks. I'm going to say that again slower. I've never seen a tree come out of the ground with multiple trunks. Well, Dr. Delatorro, what do you mean by that? What I mean by that is this, y'all, we can't come out into this industry trying to be good at 6 different things at once. That's not the way it works. You build a strong trunk first, and then from that trunk, you branch out, and then those branches bear fruit. And remember this and write this down. I'm going to clap in advance. The fruit that falls off of a tree was never meant to benefit the tree. I'm going to say that again slower. Come on, William. The fruit that falls off of a tree was never meant to benefit the tree. When was the last time you saw an orange tree eat its own oranges? I'm going to wait for you. When was the last time you saw an apple tree eat its own apples? You never see it in nature and you never see it in life. Why? Because the fruit that falls off of a tree is meant for others. So the fruit that falls off of your life, the fruit that falls off of your speaking career is meant to bless other people. Your gift is not about you. It's about how you serve others. So let's stop speaking and let's start serving. And when we serve, we can show up and transform. See, when you speak, you have to perform. When you speak, you kind of got to get into this rhythm and all this other kind of stuff. And that's when nerves can show up. I don't do nerves. I have a healthy anticipation of an incredible outcome. When people say, man, are you getting ready to go in front of 10,000 people? Are you nervous? Heck no, I'm nervous. I'm not nervous. I have a healthy anticipation of an incredible outcome. I have an HAOIO. Come on, Ruby. I have a healthy anticipation of an incredible outcome. So what am I talking about here? There's 8 ways you can do this industry. And I want you to get clear out of these 8 ways. I just want you to see them all. And then we're going to talk about them. And I want you to decide for yourself. Okay, I'm marketing myself like this, but is this how I'm really showing up? Does that make sense? And I think this helps us to crush the stage 10 times better when we understand what model we're operating from. Okay. So the first model is that of the keynote speaker. I am a full-blown frat-blooded keynote speaker. I have been for 20 years. I'll live and die as a keynote speaker, right? So now I do other models. I've graduated into other models, but I love to keynote. I love to go in, kick butt, take names, do the speech, do the product sales in the back of the room, kill it, get in and get out. The second one is the trainer facilitator. Some of you all in SA Carolinas might be more trainer facilitator. That might be your energy, that how you like to spend more time with a client, half day, full day, multi-day, right? Now, my degree is in training and development. So I bring a training and development lens to keynote speaking, but I'm still a keynoter. That's why I'm such a high content keynoter. Does that make sense? So when you're a trainer facilitator, you spend a little bit more time with the client, right? Half day, full day, multi-day trainings, et cetera, et cetera. Number 3, the third model or the third revenue stream that you could potentially have is that of a consultant, industry expert, or a coach. A lot of you all do a lot of consulting work or coaching work and things of that nature. So is that your model? Maybe not so much the keynote speaking and the training, but more the consultant, the expert, coach. Number 4 is the seminar leader and the event promoter. The majority of the speaking that you do is designed to get people to your events, designed to get people to your seminars, right? When Tony Robbins does speak outside of his events, he's driving people to his events. Does that make sense? Number 5, maybe your speaking comes as a direct result of your publishing, which means that you are an author, blogger, podcaster, YouTuber. In other words, your fame, your popularity comes from what you publish. And then because of what you publish, you're invited to come speak. Is this making sense, everybody? Number 5, and you can always feel free to come off mute and give me some echoes and let me know that this is resonating. Come on, somebody. Number 6 is the celebrity or the industry personality. Maybe you have celebrity from somewhere else. Maybe you have industry credibility from somewhere else. Maybe it's the military. Maybe you climb to the highest ranks of the military. Now you're transferring all that respect from the military over to your speaking career. Maybe you went to the highest heights in your athletic career. Now you're taking that and you're bringing it over into speaking. That makes you an industry personality, right? Number 7, maybe you're an online marketer or an internet sensation. Maybe you blew up on TikTok, right? Maybe you blew up on Instagram. Maybe you had a post or whatever. This is another way you could do the industry. Does that make sense? And then the final way is product creator or service provider. Maybe you've created a product or service that people love and use. And because you created this product or service that people love and use, now all of a sudden they ask you to come in and speak and teach. So these are the 8 models that I see prevalent in our industry, right? And the question becomes, which one of these are you? Come on, somebody. Does that make sense? Are you the keynote speaker, right? Are you the trainer facilitator? Are you the consultant expert coach? Are you the seminar leader? Or are you the event promoter? Are you the author, blogger, podcaster, YouTuber, right? I've been on John Lee Dumas's Entrepreneur on Fire podcast 3 times, right? So you might not necessarily consider, you might not necessarily consider, yeah, thank you so much, Gina, for posting those. You might not consider publishing a powerful part of your speaking, but it's a massive part of your speaking. When you publish, you make today money for yesterday effort. I'm going to say that again slower. When you publish, you make today money for yesterday effort. Come on, somebody. J.K. Rowling is not known for being an incredible keynote speaker, but she's known for her publishing, and that's what gets her speaking gigs. Does that make sense? So out of all of these models, which one resonates with you, right? Right? Are you the product creator or the service provider? Right? Russell Brunson gets interviewed and asked to speak all the time, not just because of what he created with ClickFunnels, but how that service that he provides with ClickFunnels and that product, that online product that he created, has created disruption in the internet marketing space. What about how Uber and the CEO of Uber gets invited to speak about disruption in the automotive and the transportation industry? Does that make sense? Right? You could easily hear a George Foreman, right, talk about the importance of sponsorship and also talk about the importance of acting in the moment. Well, what do you mean by that? So Hulk Hogan and George Foreman were both offered the grill. Hulk Hogan procrastinated with the promoters, waited 3 days to get back to them, and ended up getting a blender. George Foreman called the promoter back the same day and ended up getting the grill. And you and I both know what happened with the George Foreman grill. Come on, somebody. So there is power in getting back to your clients same day. Everybody put that in the chat. There is power in getting back to your clients the same dadgum day. Does that make sense? I've never seen one wealthy person who procrastinates. So when that client fills out that form on your website to learn more about your products and services, call them back same day. Wealth loves speed. Is this blessing anybody? Come on, I need 15 of y'all to come off mute and say, this is touching me right here, Dr. Delatorro. I'm loving this. I need 15 of y'all to come off mute and let me know that this is blessing you. Come on, somebody.
This is
Yes.
my point.
All right, very good. That's what I'm talking about. Come on, somebody. I'm here to take you to the next level. Maybe you're a celebrity or you're an industry personality, right? All the folks on this slide do a great job of leveraging their personality and their celebrity to get speaking engagements, whether it's Denzel Washington or Kerry Washington or Shonda Rhimes coming somebody, or Larry Wingett, who's a member of NSA and in the Hall of Fame, right? Larry's very edgy. He's very different. He wears those funky shirts and boots. He's all his titles are very edgy book titles, but that's a part of his brand. Does that make sense? So if you're going to be an industry personality and lead with your personality or your funky hairstyle or your funky attire, once you go down that path, you got to stay on that path so that you create what's called market saturation and everybody knows you for that thing. Everybody knows Dr. Delatorro is going to be experiential. Everybody knows Dr. Delatorro is going to be high energy. Everybody knows Dr. Delatorro is going to have your hand hurting with the amount of notes you take. You're going to take crazy notes and you're going to learn and you're going to grow all at the same daggone time. Does that make sense? Really, really important. Maybe you're that online marketer, or maybe you're that internet sensation like Danny Johnson or Prince Eli or Brenda Burchard. Does that make sense? I remember when me and Brenda Burchard used to be in the college market together. Me, Brenda Burchard, Victor Antonio, we all did the college market together for years, right? And so it's cool to see how they leverage the internet to scale and grow their businesses. But at the end of the day, my friend, no matter which one of those models you pick, it's vitally important that we get crystal clear about the fact that we have to learn how to build content, because content is king. Okay, content is king, right? So if we're going to crush the stage, we got to get clear about our model. That's number one. Now let's jump into these steps real quick, and I believe I'll take you to that next level. Number one, we got to structure a killer keynote. In my humble opinion, we have to edutain our audiences. I'm going to say that again. I believe that if we're going to be successful at crushing the stage, we have to edutain our audiences, which means we have to teach them and entertain them at the exact same time. So let me give you a couple of keys to crushing the stage. Number one, in your intro, make your introduction to your presentation compelling, right? Jolt your audience, captivate them, challenge them, shock them with a statistic, warn them with a case study. Does that make sense? But in your intro, right, do something compelling to grab their attention. You want to get folks off their phones and reaching for their pen, off their phones and reaching for their pen, off their phones and reaching for their pen. What? That was good. I was waiting for some of y'all to beatbox with me, but you didn't. It's okay. We're going to keep learning. Number two, connect with your audience. It's vitally important that you learn how to connect with your audience using truth, transparency, vulnerability, and teach principles. When you teach principles, you hit everybody in the room. For 90% of us in this industry, we don't do for a living what the people that we're in front of do. So I'm constantly invited to be in front of audiences of people that I don't do what they do for a living, whether it's chiropractors, whether it's pilots from Boeing, or whether it's pharmacists from AbbVie, right? Or medical directors, right? I remember the first time I spoke in Lisbon, Portugal, I was asked to speak to medical directors, right? I have not been in a hospital for longer than a day in my life. And I certainly have never worked in a hospital before. So y'all, we're constantly going to be put in situations where we're asked to speak to people and we don't do what they do for a living. That's why you have to learn how to connect with your audience using transparency, vulnerability, truth, and teach principles. When you teach principles, you hit everybody in the room. Number three, be the message. You have to be the living, breathing embodiment of what you talk about. When people see you coming, before you even open up your mouth, people need to know that you are a living, breathing example of what it is that you teach. I say this all the time in my leadership talks. A lion really does not have to roar. In the Carolinas, listen, if you and I was walking down, we was in Tanzania, we're walking down a dusty road in the jungle, and we happen to come upon a lion. Do we need to hear that lion open up his mouth and say anything to us before we run in a different direction? Absolutely not. Because a lion does not have to roar. In other words, a great leader does not have to announce their titles. See, my mom raised me and my older brother, Michael, in such a way where she said, listen, if I tell you to do something, you do it the first time. If I have to call your first, middle, and last name, please know that you're about to get a spanking. And she said, and if I have to say I'm your mother, just know that you've been kicked out of the house. Come on, somebody. Anybody else get raised by some pretty stiff, pretty stern, strict parents like that? Come on, somebody. Right? So listen, my mom was the message. Her voice was the message. So it was like when I heard it, I knew that I had to execute. Does that make sense? Be the kind of speaker, be the kind of presenter where you are your message. You wear it proudly. Does that make sense? Make sure that this sounds simple, but y'all make clear points. It needs to be very evident. Right now, we are in the structuring your talk part of my presentation. We just left the 8 speaker models. Does that make sense? Make clear points. Right now, we're talking about how to crush it on stage through the organization of a good presentation. Make sure that you transition well between points. Transitioning well between points is simply using transitional phrases like next, or now let's talk about, or did you get good value out of that? Now let's change direction and shift to this. Transition smoothly in between points. Does that make sense? So important in your presentation. And a lot of us, y'all, we use great marketing and we use great branding in our speaking and presenting, but a lot of times we put our presentation on autopilot. Don't you do that. Stay engaged and really working on having incredible presentations. I've got to speak Saturday in Orlando for a huge convention for freight transportation, a trucking company called Old Dominion Freight. And so I've already done a site visit to Old Dominion Freight. I've spent an hour and a half on a site visit with them. I've learned all this language and terminology, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're setting it up with like an ESPN theme. So when I come out on stage, I'm actually going to be running through a tunnel and they're going to have some smoke and all this kind of crazy stuff. It's going to be gangster, right? But what's the point? I don't care. All that smoke and mirrors is going to be beautiful. But I have to deliver a powerful presentation that this client remembers, because when I'm remembered, I can get rebooked. Come on, somebody. I'm going to say that again. Somebody put that in the comments. Come on, somebody. When you're remembered, you can be rebooked. Isn't that right, Jesse? But if we're not remembered, the client can't have us back. So we got to make clear points. We got to transition well between our points, and we have to develop the points once we make them. Develop your points using statistics, facts, polls, right? You can do a poll with the audience in real time and get instant feedback, right? These are all different ways that you can develop the content in your presentation. Realize that your presentation is not about you. It's about the audience. Listen, as long as you know, the reason why I asked you guys to come off mute and talk back to me is because when you're giving a presentation, the purpose of you giving that presentation is to go from you knowing the information to the audience knowing the information. And the best way for your audience to learn the information is to get them to say it back. Because according to adult learning theory, when audiences say and do, they retain 90% of what they experience. But if you don't get your audience saying and doing things back in real time, their retention goes down. So remember, it's not about you. It's about, can they retain your presentation? Be a compelling, this is number 8. I love number 8. Be a compelling storyteller. Speaking of number 8, 2024, this year is the year of 8. Look it up, Google it, and apply it to your life and your business. It's pretty powerful. All right. 8's my favorite number. It's powerful. It means transformation, growth, next level, balance, everything else, right? So number 8, be a compelling storyteller. When you tell a story, tell a short, quick story and understand that there's more on the back end of your story than the story itself. Let me be very, very clear about something. If you're telling a 3-minute story, the facts of the story need to be done by a minute and a half. So you have the other minute and a half to actually unpack what the story means for the audience, because the audience could care less about your story. They're listening to your story for takeaways for them. All audiences are selfish. They're listening to the same radio station, WIIFM. What's in it for me? The only reason why we tell a story is not to heal. Heal in therapy. Don't use the stage and tell stories so that you can heal yourself. Heal in therapy. Show up on stage to deliver and crush it. Come on, somebody. Are y'all feeling what I'm saying? Is this making sense, everybody? Come off mute and say, this is good stuff, Doc. Come on. Come off mute. Let me know this is resonating with you. Come on. Number 9, use
Awesome.
props and
Incredible.
visuals. Come on, somebody. We got to use strong props and visuals to support your message, right? Speakers that use strong props and visuals are giving more credibility than those that don't. So build a visual aid into your presentation. Even if it's something like, hey, I'm getting ready to teach you guys some strategies. And for the next couple of minutes, I'm going to be Mr. Miyagi and y'all get to be Danielson. Something this simple that I got on Amazon for $3 is now a powerful visual aid that makes me look like Mr. Miyagi and makes you feel like Danielson. And it makes us all want to say, wax on, wax off. Can I get a shout? Come on, somebody. Is this making sense? So use strong visuals and props in your presentation. And they can be simple, strong, simple, easy visuals that you can use. I travel with this guy right here. All it is a little carabiner kind of cord. All it is, I travel with this thing. It stays in my book bag. But every time I teach on mentorship, and every time I talk about relationships, and every time I talk about who you're connected to in life and business, I always pull this out. And the reason why it's yellow is because I want people to be able to see it from stage, right? And I clip one end of this on my belt. And then I go into the audience and I just find a random person and I clip the other end to them. And I just walk away. And then all of a sudden they feel all this pull in the line as I walk away. So of course they immediately get up and they start following me. And I walk them all around the audience as I'm teaching. We're like, well, dang, Dr. Delatorro, why you do that? To illustrate a point. And my point is this. All of our lives, we were taught that peer pressure was bad. But I don't believe that. I believe that peer pressure is great when you got the right peers. If you're connected to the right people, you will grow the way they grow. You will advance the way they advance. Wherever they go, you go. Come on, somebody. When I move, you move. What? Just like that. I had a moment. Sorry. So at the end of the day, right, use strong visuals to make powerful points in your presentation. And when you do this, it will take them to the next level. Make sure that you leave your audience wanting go back to 10. Close your presentation on a high, right? I firmly believe in making sure that the last thing that they remember is something really, really amazing from you. So close your presentation on a high. Also leave your audience wanting more. Don't over teach and don't overserve your audience, because if you solve every problem for them, this is an advanced technique. Listen to me, NSA Carolinas. If you solve every problem for them in your presentation, they don't have a need for your product. So make vitally sure that you don't overserve your audience. And I'm big into over delivering and I'm big in all that. Listen, I believe in all that and I do all that. But at the end of the day, you can't do it in such a way where you give them too much, because now they don't feel like they need you. So leave them wanting more. Out of your 8 steps, teach 4. Out of your 12-step formula, teach 3 of them. Out of your 15-step blueprint, teach 5 of them, and leave them wanting more. Last but not least, be powerful, be intentional, be profound, but get the heck up out of there, because people value people who value their time. I'm going to say that again slower. People value people who value their time. And watch this. Especially if you charge for coaching or consulting and you're just sitting around chilling for like 8-10 hours at a conference, it shows that you're not busy. So you want to go do your thing, sell your product and resources and your wares and your coaching and your online courses and all that great stuff. But there needs to be a little bit of a mystery about you. Don't just be available everywhere, because people tend to take you for granted when you don't even value your own time. Okay, these are just a couple of keys to helping you crush it. Now, I believe that there's 6 components of a killer keynote that's going to get you paid and rebooked. So let's jump into those. I want you to jot down on your paper 6 highs, H-I-G-H. All 6 of these are high, because I want you to do everything at a high level. Why? Because high income doesn't flow to low energy. I'm going to say that again slower. High income doesn't flow to low energy. High income doesn't flow to low thinking. High income doesn't flow to low vibration. High income does not flow to any low energy source. So we're gonna keep everything high. Are y'all feeling me? All right. So first thing, I need your presentation to be high energy. Be passionate about what you talk about. Nobody should talk about your content better than you. You should be incredible at your stuff because you're passionate about it. Now watch this. Joel Osteen passion is different than TD Jakes' passion. Iyanla Vanzant energy is different than Mel Robbins' energy. Marie Forleo energy is different than Danny Johnson energy. Does that make sense? So at the end of the day, I'm not saying be crazy, jumping off the wall, bouncing off the walls. What I am saying is be passionate about what you talk about. And it should be very evident that what you talk about is something that you care about, because what comes from the heart reaches the heart. So if your presentation bores you, it's going to double bore your audience. Teach stuff that gets you pumped and excited. Number 2, make sure your presentation is high content. Nobody should be the expert of your subject matter other than you. You should be killing it. Nobody should teach what you know better than you. Make sure that you're the expert in your subject matter, because we're trying to be memorable so that we can get invited back. Please be clear. The top speakers in our industry are on repeat referral spinoff business. Repeat referral spinoff business. To get repeat referral spinoff business so that conferences beget conferences and stages beget more stages, you've got to be an expert in your subject matter. Number 3, highly relevant. Make sure that you remain principle-based in your content. When you teach principles, people don't argue with principles. People don't argue with things that have been already proven. So build more principle-based teaching into your presentations, and guess what? People will feel more like your content resonates with them and it's relevant to them. Number 4, interactive. Make sure that your presentation is in your audience loves to be involved in your presentation, but you got to do it tastefully. You got to do it tactfully. Makes sense? That's what we teach you how to do at Crush the Stage. Number 5, highly original. See, R&D used to stand for research and development. Now it stands for rip off and duplicate. I'm gonna wait for y'all. Can I get 10 of y'all to come off mute? Y'all quiet today. Y'all don't know why y'all so quiet today. I need y'all to come off mute. Mary Kate, come on, Tara. Come on, Lynn. Come on, Sarah. Holla at your boy.
Amen, somebody. All right.
Awesome.
Let's roll, man. This thing, R&D used to stand for research and development. Now it stands for rip off and duplicate, y'all. Create your own stuff.
Yes.
Listen, I want you to have 50, 60s, 80 books in Audible. I think that's awesome. I love the fact that you always take pictures of the books you're reading and you post them on Facebook so that people can know you're well read. I get all that. But here's the truth. If your presentation is comprised of content that you read from other people, what you're actually doing is when you get up on stage, you're actually giving us a book report. I'm gonna wait for you. It's quiet.
They don't need us for a book report.
I can't hear nobody.
Holy moly! Wow.
Book reports.
They don't need a book report.
The audience don't need no book report. When the $1 Million Roundtable came to me the first time and I auditioned for the first time, I quoted 3 people that are living in my presentation. I talked about this at Influence. And they said, listen, if we want to know what Tony Robbins and Oprah Winfrey and Brenda Burchard believe, we would have hired them. We hired you because we want to know what you believe. Only quote dead people. I was like, yeah, dog. But it helped me believe in myself and helped me believe in my own content more. So let me give you a simple strategy to help you produce more better content yourself. Ask yourself this question. How did I achieve what it is that I want people to understand about me that makes me an expert? How did I achieve what it is that people see about me that makes me an expert? So, for example, if you've had an incredible marriage for 30 years, how'd you do that? True story, my mentor, Dr. Willie Jolly, and his wife were writing a book on love and relationships. And I've been very close to the Jolly family. They've adopted me as a son, literally. So every time I go to DC, I stay at their house. It's a whole party. Anyway, when they were coming up with the name for their book, and you can call Dr. Willie Jolly right now and ask him, he'll tell you. You can literally text him right now and he'll tell you this is true. They were going to call their most recent book 10 Ways to Shape a Great Marriage. And I said, do you really want this thing to take off? It was like, absolutely. I said, do you want this to be a movement? He said, absolutely. I said, cool. That's a great subtitle, but it's not a good title at all. I said, give me 24 hours. I'll come back to you with the title. This is a true story. This is what I'm talking about, originality. So I spent some time thinking about who Dr. Willie and Dee are and how I process them. And the very next day I called him. I said, is Mama Dee with you? He said, yeah. I said, put the phone on speaker. He put it on speaker. I said, here's the name of your new marriage brand. Make love, make money, make it last. Make love is the intimacy part, the passion part of a thriving marriage. Make money, you guys do business together, right? You can't keep happy wife, happy life, right? Make love, make money, last thing, make it last. We want this thing to last. None of us want to end up in divorce court. Make love, make money, make it last. Man, he screamed. He was like, oh my God, that's perfect. And now they have an entire marriage brand that they've built. They speak, they teach, they do all this stuff together all around the country. If you go to his website and you see his latest book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. That title came from Dr. Delatorro. That concept came from Dr. Delatorro. Why? I took a minute to be intentional about how I could use originality to help my mentor and his wife create a brand new brand. Isn't that powerful, y'all? Come on, somebody. So every time I see them interviewed on TV, I get chill bumps because I remember the moment when God gave me that idea. And God does this for me all the time. He gives me tons of amazing ideas for speakers, authors, coaches when they come through our trainings. In fact, Dr. Willie Jolly won't even train speakers anymore. He's like, Dr. Delatorro, you're the best speaker trainer in the country. I don't train speakers. When speakers come to me, ask me for training, I just send them to Crush the Stage because you're the best speaker trainer in the country. He said, you took what I taught you and everybody else taught you, and you just magnified it times 10 and then put instructional design on it. And then you've lived it from giving 4,000 paid talks all over the world. I'm sharing this with you to help you guys understand how to create your own footprint of originality and authenticity in this industry. Okay. And then number 6, high ROI, return on investment, highly actionable. Make sure that the things that you teach are things that people can implement instantaneously. They need to be able to implement things immediately into their lives and businesses and careers so they can get a result. The faster you can give people a result, the faster they will come back and work with you. It's another clap moment. I'm talking coaches, consultants, experts, y'all. The more you can get people to get a result faster, the more they will want to work with you. But if we take all day to get an outcome, we're going to be here all day. So help your people produce a result faster, and you will be more respected. The 6 components of a killer keynote that gets you paid and rebooked, okay? We're talking that this is the section about structuring your killer keynote, guys. The content that I'm talking about is in my multi-day experience, right? It's called Crush the Stage. Next one's coming up in May. It's in Tampa. Gina's going to drop the link in here. You can learn all about it. I'd love to see you there. The reason why it's so important is because at the end of the day, I firmly believe that your next level of income in speaking is directly connected to your next level of ability to be masterful on stage. And Crush the Stage is one of the only speaker training programs out there where you actually speak. Most speaker training programs that you go to, you sit there, you take notes, and you got to come home and figure out how to apply that to your business and your brand. At Crush the Stage, you literally do the work in real time. You speak 8 times. I'm coaching you. If you think Simon Cowell's tough on singers, you've never met me. So I'm super tough on speakers, and I'm going to help you become masterful. I'm going to teach you my full 12-step blueprint, and then I make you get on stage and actually do it a number of times until you get it masterful. It's incredible. So check out Crush the Stage to learn more about that. Let's switch over and talk about audience psychology. Nobody wants this. This is horrible, right? Nobody wants this, right? So there's 12 things you need to know about any audience if you want to be more impactful with that audience. Let's jump into it. First and foremost, your audiences want you to entertain them as you teach them. So I want you to ask yourself this question: how can I be more entertaining in my next presentation? Y'all, the stage is like Burger King. You can have it your way, but you have to be intentional. Come on, somebody, about making sure that you entertain them as you teach them, right? Larry does a remarkable job with this. Look, his multiple microphones and just his energy, his vitality, his smile, right? He always is displaying that energy, not only on stage, but off stage. And that's the key thing too, family. Be the same person on stage as off stage. Be the same individual. I'm the same cat on stage and off stage, right? I don't have to become someone different to get on stage and do what we do. Be yourself. It takes too much energy and time to try to be fake, phony, and try to, no. Just be you. Number two, second thing that audiences want is to be familiar with their culture and sincerely care. Sincerely care about what's going on with the organizations that you're serving. Really actually do some research about what's happening with them, how this change that this organization is having is going to impact them long term. Like, really care about what it is that the mission of that organization is, so that way you can identify it and crush it. Third thing that audiences want is they want you to connect the points in your stories to their needs. Why are we telling stories if it's not connected to a need that the audience has? That's an ego-based story. Get out of ego-based storytelling and get into we-go-based storytelling. We're getting out of ego-based and we're going into we-go. I need to see more notes in the chat. I need to see y'all like I can't write in the chat because I'm taking too many daggum notes in my journal. That's what William is saying. Yeah, bump the chat. I'm taking my own notes. I'm highlighting. William, come off mute. Am I right about it, brother?
Hey, you were right about it. Look, I got all these notes that I'm taking. I can't type that fast. I only got two hands.
I love it. Hey, Larry, you didn't warn these folks when they was coming in for you. You ain't warn them, brother. All right, listen. Number 4, own the freaking room. Not just the front row, not the first 5 rows, the left side of the stage, the right side of the stage, the middle of the stage, the people in the bleachers. Everybody that's in a seat and everybody that's standing needs to know that you're in that building. Own the entire room. That's what the audience wants. They want to be complimented. They want to be challenged to grow. I say things like this in my presentation. You guys are doing a great job. Y'all are taking copious notes. I love it. High five yourself. Pat yourself on the back. You're doing a fantastic job. Compliment your audience and then challenge them to grow and get better and get smarter and get stronger, right? So you guys can do this. Don't tell me that. Don't you give up that quick. When I do like a team building exercise and they're kind of getting tired after 30 seconds of doing something, I say, keep going. You can do this. Don't give me that nonsense. And if I'm giving a 75-minute keynote, I say, listen, you can watch 3 and 4 episodes of Netflix back to back to back without even thinking about it. So this 75 minutes is about to feel like 25 minutes up in here, especially with Dr. Delatorro in the building. Y'all better get ready. Does that make sense? Your audience wants gifts for attending live. I use Talkadot to deliver gifts for attending live. I love that because it digitally delivers something directly to their phones. Number 7, they want you to succeed because secretly they admire you. You got to remember, y'all, public speaking is still one of the number 1 fears in the world. So your audience actually admires the fact that you're up there doing what you're doing, because if you were to pass the mic to them and say, okay, go ahead and take my presentation over from here, I guarantee you they would shut their mouth. So your audience admires you. When was the last time you said that to yourself before you went on stage? See, I say all kinds of mantras to myself before I jump on stage so that there's no nerves and I'm there to serve and deliver and crush it. Does that make sense? And some of you all give good presentations, but you know it's not expert level stuff. And that might be the reason why you need to come spend some time with me at Crush the Stage to take what you're doing to the next level. I have officially mentored, no exaggeration, this is backed up. I've mentored 8 people who are now CSPs. And I've mentored one person, actually 2 people one person who's in the $1 million speakers group in NSA. That means their business generates $1 million annually. So I've mentored one person who's in the $1 million speakers group and 8 people who are now CSPs. That's a big deal, y'all. I'm very proud of that. That means that you're paying it forward and you're helping other people get to the level. So that's what it's all about, right? They want results-based content and they want no fluff. Get to the point faster, y'all. Human beings' attention span has shifted because of social media, reels, all this kind of stuff, right? So watch this. We thought that TED and TEDx changed the game because TED and TEDx said you could say it in 17 minutes or 11 minutes or 9 minutes or whatever, right? Now Instagram is saying you could say it in 90 seconds. Or 60 seconds, stories, et cetera, right? So our attention span has gotten even shorter. So get to the point faster. Number 9, give the sources for the information that you quote, right? The people that you quote, the stats that you quote, give sources for this information, right? Because you come across as more well-read and well-versed when you do so. Number 10, they want to be involved in your presentation. Your audience wants to be involved in your presentation. So pull people on stage and let me put money in your pocket. Let me put a lot of money in your pocket right now. I do this every presentation. It always works. It's incredible. I love to, whatever I'm selling at the back of the room, I will always bag a version of whatever that is, whether it's books, audios, whether it's online courses that I sell with a postcard. It doesn't matter what it is, right? I will make sure I create a little baggie and then I give that away to the people that volunteer during my presentation. So then when Jessica comes on stage, volunteers, and I give her a baggie of stuff and she's walking back to her seat, I say, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jessica. She's walking away with 1, 2, 3, ABC. Now I just sold without selling. I'll wait for you to come off mute. It's quiet.
Woo!
Come on, somebody. Is this making sense?
That's
good.
So let's say you pull 3 and 4 people up during your presentation. If you pull 3 and 4 people up during your presentation, you just did 3 or 4 trial closes during your talk before you ever fully mention your offer at the end. That's gangster because repetition is the mother of skill. Rehearsal is the father of learning. So if you've mentioned your offer 3 and 4 little small times because of the people that volunteered, by the time you actually mention it at the end, people are already ready to buy. They want to be involved in your presentation as long as you do it tastefully. Number 10, number 11, they want your PowerPoint, they want your presence, not your PowerPoint. So be more conversational as you deliver what you're talking about. Okay, I'm gonna say that again slower. They want your presence, not your PowerPoint. You don't have to finish every slide, right? The presentation is designed to help you prepare, right? We use the visuals to help the audience remember and learn and take down the important points, but it's not about you getting through every slide. It's about you getting the knots out. And I use a really powerful metaphor to help you understand this. Thank you, Ruby. I appreciate that. Have you guys ever been to a masseuse before and you complain about a lower back issue, but then the masseuse massages you and you find out you got 3 knots in your shoulder? So they spend more time working on your shoulder and then all of a sudden the lower back issue goes away. So sometimes what we think the audience needs is not really what they need. So we got to be able to go deeper to really give them what it is that they need to take them to that next level. Number 12, they want you to be uplifting, inspiring, and encouraging in everything that you do and say. And the reason why that is because most people in most audiences are hurting. And they want us to be there to add value to them and take them to that next level. Does that make sense, y'all? So let's remember that we're serving a dying world. And it's really, really important. I taught you guys this earlier, but here it is. You can write these statistics down and these percentages down. According to adult learning theory, if all you do is get up there and read your slides, they're going to remember 10% of it. If you get up there and talk about your slides, they're going to remember 20% of it. If they see the visuals in your slides, they're going to remember 30% of that. I hate those first 3 statistics. Let's focus on the bottom 3. I want my audience to retain what I'm teaching. So in order to do that, they got to see it and they got to hear it. They got to say it. And then to retain it at the highest level, you got to get them to take an action and say it. If you get your audience to say it back to you and take an action, they will retain 90% of what it is that they're experiencing in that moment. So how can you be more interactive and how can you build more call and response into your presentation so that way your audience retains what you're saying more without it feeling like they're at church? Does that make sense? Really, really important. Now, I firmly believe, and I know we're coming up on time here, but there's 4 questions that you have to answer in the mind of your audience if you want them to buy from you afterwards. And every single one of us wants our audiences to buy from us afterwards. If you want your audience to buy from you afterwards, come off mute real quick. You could just hit the space bar to do that and say, that's me. Say, that's me. Just come off quick and say, that's me. We all want our audiences to buy afterwards. So there's 4 questions that you have to answer in the mind of your audience, right? That was going to help you to get them to buy when you're done speaking and you're ready to actually make your offer. First question that every audience has in their mind is, why do I need resources to begin with? Why do I need something to continue on the learning after listening to you? Which is a question of relevance. Why do I need resources? The second question is, why do I need these resources? What is it about, which is a question of specificity. What is it about what this particular resource has that I can't get from another resource? So why do I need these resources, which is a question of specificity? Why do I need personal development? Why do I need personal development from this resource? Number three, why do I need personal development from you? Ooh, that's a question of your credibility. So you need to sell your audience on relevance, specificity, credibility, and last but not least, urgency. Why do I need resources? Why do I need these resources? Why do I need these resources from you? And why do I need these resources from you now? If you can answer those 4 questions in the mind of your audience during your presentation, they will buy at the end. I'm telling you, if you do that, they will buy at the end. Larry, it's noon, or it's 1 o'clock. I want to pitch it back to you real quick so we can kind of talk through if we want to keep going for a little bit or if people have questions, et cetera, et cetera. One thing I did want to let everybody know, Gina, if you'll do me a favor, put the link in the chat for our documentary, guys. NSA Carolinas, we just finished producing an incredible documentary of being inducted into the Hall of Fame, our acceptance speech. We hosted a gala in Orlando the day after Influence ended. It was incredible. There's a lot of really amazing people that gave beautiful testimonials, et cetera, et cetera. And that documentary is on YouTube now, and we're trying to get as many people to watch it as possible. You will get such an incredible education. So the link to our documentary is right there in the chat. Please make sure you copy and paste that link and watch the episode. You're going to learn. So watch the documentary. It's really beautifully shot. Jamie Nolan, the president of NSA, has watched it in full. She adored it. She loved it. And their NSA as an organization is actually considering sending it out in an email format for the entire association to check out, because it was that nicely done. So we're really excited about it. Larry, talk to us, champ. Where we at, man?
NSA Carolinas, let's give it up for Dr. Delatorro, McNeal. Come off of mute. Come off of mute.
Wow.
That's awesome. Come off of mute. If you can't turn on your cameras,
Wow.
We want to get a
Good
picture
job.
with everyone. Come off your cameras, please.
Oh my God.
Put on your cameras. Get your hair right. And Dr. Delatorro has agreed to go to overtime, but everyone put on your biggest cheese. Everyone say cheese.
Cheese.
Cool. We got that snap. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, Dr. Dell, 8 speaker models, 12 keys to crushing it, 6 components of a killer keynote to get you paid and rebooked. 12 things your audience wants, leveraging audience psychology, 4 questions you must answer for your audience to buy. And you've got so much more to give us. We're gonna end the program because we want to end on time. But for anyone that wants to stay and play and learn how you can be a better speaker and build a better speaker business, we've got overtime. So thank you to those that have to run. Overtime has started. Dr. Dell, right back to you.
Whoop, 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 whoop. All right, Carol, let's keep rocking and rolling. This is awesome. And I hope you guys are getting massive value out of this. Again, key takeaways, make sure that you visit our Crush the Stage website. We would love to work with you at our very next cohort. We can take you, whether you're a new speaker, whether you're an advanced seasoned speaker, or whether you're killing it and kicking butt and taking names, you just want to take it to the next level. I guarantee you Crush the Stage is going to be a total game changer for you. And listen, my chief of staff, Gina Falco, she is on. She's going to post her Calendly link. If you'd like to learn more about Crush the Stage and you want to learn more about some of the different financing options that people use to finance the tuition to come, please book a call with Gina. She would gladly help you, and we can rock and roll and have a great time. So, because one of the things that I firmly believe in, it's really, really important, and I practice this in my speaking business as well, is I never say something costs a lot of money, and I never say something is too much, because if it's too much to invest, it's too much to generate. I'm going to say that again slower. As soon as I say something costs a lot of money, or if it's expensive, I'm automatically disqualifying myself from the opportunity to have it. So I don't use that language. I don't care if it's a Bentley. I don't care if it's $1 million mansion that I want to purchase. It doesn't matter what I want to get. I never say something is expensive. I always say, listen, how do I afford the thing that I want? Right? Does that make sense? So I never say something expensive, because if it's too much to invest, it's also too much to generate. So I never come from that place. I always come from a place that says there's more than enough. There's abundance everywhere, and I deserve abundance, right? And I also love to learn from the best. So in my speaking career, all I've done is make investments. I remember when I spent $10,000 to spend one day with Zig Ziglar's speech coach. 10 grand to spend one day with Zig Ziglar's speech coach. Why? Because I believe in the importance of learning some skills that will take me to that next level. Okay. And as long as I'm like, okay, cool. How many speeches does it take at my ideal fee to repay that investment? Oh man, that's a breeze. As long as 4 talks or less pays off the tuition, it's the answer is always yes. Because I understand that my next level requires a new lanyard. Every new level requires a new lanyard. You got to constantly be in school, learning and growing from the best. So I invite you guys to come to Crush the Stage and come check it out. Now let's keep learning it, because I got some more stuff to share with you. Step number 3 in your process is incorporating platform neurolinguistics. And everything I've been teaching you so far, we go into 100 times deeper when you come to Crush the Stage, okay? Neurolinguistics is the language of the unconscious mind. How do you influence the subconscious mind? So in essay, I'm going to share with you a couple of things that you can do from an NLP perspective to be more impactful when you give a presentation. Number 1, start with a strong question or a strong premise or thesis. And the reason why this is important is because the brain loves something solid to hold on to, right? So when I spoke for the $1 Million Roundtable, my opening phrase was a strong thesis. And it was this: ladies and gentlemen, I believe that life gives us one open invitation every day. And it comes in the form of a question. Will you be better today than you were yesterday? Will you make the daily decision to better your best? That's how I started my presentation for the $1 Million Roundtable. Now, the reason why that's important is because I started with a strong premise, a thesis. I started with a strong question, a strong belief about something. So there's an anchor for the mind to hold on to. The second thing that you want to do is you want to build a rapport with your audience, because you cannot shift a person or an audience until you understand what's already shifting them. I'm going to say that again slower. In NLP, in neuro-linguistic programming, in order to build rapport, which is relation, connection with others, you got to do that by building common ground and trust. And the reason why that's so important is because you can't influence somebody until you know what already influences them. We can't influence our kids until we know what's already influencing them. I know the music that my kids listen to influences them, the friends that they're around, the clothes that they wear, the podcasts that they listen to, right? What's in their social feed. These are all things that influence them. Their coworkers at work, right? Their friends at school. These are all, you can't influence somebody till you know what already influences them. So that's why you got to build rapport. Number 3, get your audience to say yes. Y'all, there is literally research that states that when audiences say yes, when there is a narrative of yes, there's a yes energy in the room, buying explodes. Why? Because think about it, y'all. No has a negative connotation and yes has a positive connotation. Right? Yes stands for yes to the future, yes to new goals, yes to new dreams, yes to new aspirations, yes to new possibilities. Does that make sense? So when you say yes, when you get your audience to say yes, you're putting them into a state of what's called heightened suggestibility, which makes them more apt to want to take action with you in the future. Number 4, use all-inclusive languaging. If you're going to leverage NLP, you want to use all-inclusive languaging like we, us, our, team, family, group. You don't want to say I, you. When you say I, you in presentations, it's combative. It's you versus the audience, as if you're better than them or different from them. And when you're different from them or set apart from them or better than them, you don't feel like you're a part of them. They don't feel like they're a part of you. The disconnect with that is, guess what? See, I love to say stuff like, we here at Verizon believe. We here at Boeing understand. We here at State Farm come from the understanding of X, Y, Z. Why? Because when I say we and State Farm is planning next year's conference, guess who they're also thinking about? Me, because I said we. Are you catching what I'm saying? Come on, somebody, right? Come on, right? So let's make sure that we use all-inclusive languaging in our presentations. Number 5, match your physiology with your message. The energy of your physical physiology needs to match your message, right? And the last thing I want you to understand, which is really, really powerful, is politely tell your audience what to do. Politely. Tell your audience what to do, because the unconscious mind, the subconscious mind responds to commands, and it responds to suggestions. So have y'all noticed something very ironic? Every time you tell people to do something, they do the opposite. Here's what I mean by that. If you tell a kid not to spill the juice, what do? Spill the juice. If you tell a kid not to kick the ball in the street, the ball goes in the street. If you tell somebody that you love and care about in the middle of a heated argument, don't lie to me, you get it. There's a good chance you got lied to. Why? Because the unconscious mind cannot process a negative directly. So when you say don't, think of a pink elephant in the corner of the room, the unconscious mind can't process the word don't. So it only hears the command. It only hears the suggestion. Suggestion is think of a pink elephant in the corner of the room. Does that make sense? So when you say don't spill the juice to the kids, you just gave them permission to spill the juice. So instead of telling them to not spill the juice, say what you want them to do. Hold the cup securely with both hands, baby. Keep the ball in the front yard. Tell me the truth. I will reward your honesty. These are ways we can phrase things. Come on, Allie, right? Whether we're talking to our parents, our significant other, our kids, our boo, or it's complicated, it doesn't matter. Y'all, we can talk to people better. We can communicate better by leveraging neurolinguistics. Does that make sense? So, and I've studied it for years and years and years, but this is just, I mean, you could spend weeks and weeks and months studying NLP. I just wanted to share a few nuggets with you that would help you to kind of understand at a high level how you can use this to bypass the conscious critic and plant hope and faith in the subconscious long enough to produce a harvest. Woo! Come on, somebody. Last but not least, let's talk about visuals. And we talked about that earlier, but listen, I could tell you that I crowd surf in front of audiences, but it's way easier to just show you a photo of it. See, pictures used to be worth 1,000 words. Now I believe video and pictures is worth 10,000 words. Does that make sense? So the more you can show through video and through live photography, how you do what you do. So listen, I used to get jealous when I would see rock bands jump in crowds. I'm like, I'm in front of crowds all the time. How come people ain't passing me around? And the answer came to me. God said, nobody's passing you around because you're not jumping. So I said, okay, well, if I start jumping in crowds, what happens if I fall? And then God said back to me, what happens when you don't? Teach them how to hold you. And so I've taught my audiences for the last 20 years how to hold me, and I jump in my audiences, and they pass me around. And I've been doing it for a long time. Well, Dr. Delatorro, what does that have to do with the visual aid? What does that have to do with the prop? What does that have to do with the illustration? Because when I'm passed around an entire audience, I am the visual, I am the prop, I am the metaphor, I am the illustration. So you can be your own prop. You can be your own illustration. Does that make sense in your presentations? Right? When somebody commented on this particular photo that was at the very beginning of my presentation, my clients, y'all, when I go to these gigs, I spend at least 15, 20 minutes talking to the photographer at the event, talking to the videographer at the event, telling them what I'm going to be doing in my presentation and where they need to be in order to get shots I want them to get. Why? Because I want the visuals from that conference to sell me to another meeting planner, to another bureau, for another opportunity. Does that make sense? So this is me doing my transformer moment in front of a huge audience. It was incredible. We killed it. We crushed it. And I just love that photo. It's just gold. See, you see the audience, you see me, you see the confidence monitor, you see the timer, you see the stage, you see the everything. So y'all, I'm not special. I'm not unique. I'm just showing you how we do what we do. So why are visuals so important? Number one, we live in a visual society. People expect good visuals in your presentation, right? Speaking from a visual can carry your entire presentation. Y'all, if there's ever a time when there's no PowerPoint, there's no LED walls, there's no all that fancy stuff, take 2 or 3 props on stage, set them up on a table, and speak. Your visuals alone can carry a strong presentation. I could do a whole keynote with this clapper, this bandana, and this carib. I could do a whole keynote with just those 3 props. No slides, nothing, right? Studies show that visuals increase retention by 55%. Would you like to be remembered over other speakers by 55%? Use more visuals, right? They help speakers to accommodate various learning styles. See, the visual learner responds to, do you see what I mean? The auditory audience member responds to, do you hear what I mean? Right? The kinesthetic audience member responds to, do you feel what I mean? Does that make sense? So visual, auditory, or kinesthetic learners all learn differently, and they're all in your audience. So you got to be able to speak to the different learning styles differently using your visuals. Speakers that use visuals are given more credibility than those that don't. And visuals aid in packing a punch with your points and keeping your presentation on track as well. Okay. So I'm gonna bring those in one more time to make sure you guys got them. Okay. Let's talk about some of the different types of visuals that are out there, right? Your body is a great visual. Your clothes is a great visual, right? If you're in the personal development, or if you're in the physical fitness space, your body is important, right? Your body is important, period. Of course, we know that, but especially if you're in the fitness space, et cetera, the wellness space, your body is your visual, right? Your clothes, how you wear your clothes, right? The things that you put on your clothes, right? How you accentuate your clothing in your presentation as a visual. Models of large objects. You might not be able to have an entire classic car on stage, but let's say you're a classic car fan. You could have 2 or 3 classic cars in your little book bag, and you can pull them out. And then as the camera zooms in on what's in your hand, they can see it's a nice classic car. Of course, you could put the photos on your slides as well. Audience members make great visuals. Social media graphics make great visuals, right? Photography makes great visuals. Toys, tools, right? Let's say you're handy. Let's say you're really great with the tools in your house. Bring those tools on stage when you're doing a leadership conversation and talk about the difference between a hammer and a saw and an Allen wrench and a screwdriver, and how those are different leadership styles that we need to embrace if we want to go to the next level, right? Videos, DVDs, right? Movies, movie clips. These are all great visuals that you can build into your presentation. PowerPoint, Prezi, right? All these different tools, learning tools, are really, really, really powerful. So build these things into your talk. They'll take you to the next level. The last thing I wanted to mention, where I'll hand it back over, is I want to teach you one really cool thing about storytelling that's really powerful, and what I call story selling. I believe that when you're telling a story, you're really selling one of 5 things. I've never heard a speaker teach this. This is all stuff that I've just gleaned over time. I believe that when you're telling a story, you're selling one of 5 things, and sometimes you're selling even more than one of 5 things. Check it out. The first thing that you could be selling when you're telling the story is a principle. Maybe you're trying to sell the audience on a principle that you want them to adopt, a principle of being grateful, a principle of mentoring, a principle of the importance of being a good person, like the Good Samaritan, right? Right? That story is all about a principle. You're selling the audience on a principle. Maybe you're trying to sell them on a practice. Let's say you practice yoga every morning, or you practice journaling every morning. And from that practice, you have embraced a new element of yourself. So when you tell the story, you're really selling me on the practice of journaling, or the practice of meal prep, or the practice of greeting your spouse when they come home, or giving them a massage when they first walk in the door, or a practice of taking your pet on a walk in the middle of the day just to break up the monotony of your day, right? Number 3, maybe you're selling me on a process. Have you created some process that the story that you tell now teaches the process, and it gets others to get involved in that process as well? Number 4, you could be selling me on a person. That person could be yourself. That person could also be, watch this, y'all, it could be you. That person could, right? If you're telling a biblical story, you could be selling me on the personhood of Jesus Christ. You could be selling me on you as a person. Why you're a great mentor and a coach for other people. You could be selling the audience on themselves. Does it make sense? You could be selling them on how amazing of a person they are. Last but not least, you could be selling a product. As you're telling the story, it sells a product or a resource that you have that will take them to the next level. So I believe that these are the 5 P's of story selling that you're actually selling when you're telling a story. So if we can learn in our storytelling, when you come across the stage, we take you through the paces on this stuff in some really, really amazing ways. Because we not only make you get up on stage and tell your story and sell your story, but then we make you get crystal clear about which one of these you're working from and how to shift those things out in storytelling to be 10 times more impactful. So it's awesome. It's incredible. NSA Carolinas, I got so much more. I could do this stuff all day. I love teaching speakers about presenting. But listen, at the end of the day, I know we're on a time schedule. Y'all got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. So I'm going to end it here. But listen, I encourage you, I admonish you. If you've gotten value out of today's presentation, this is like maybe 0.1% of all that I know that I could share with you. and I just need to spend some time with you to do it. So visit crushthestage.com. We'd love to have you as one of our upcoming participants in our program. Please do yourself the favor and schedule some time with Gina if you need to have a chat with her. Also, everybody that's a part of this chapter, it would really help us if you would check out our documentary on YouTube. We'd love for you to watch it. Give us your feedback. We're this close to monetization on YouTube, which means when we post our videos on YouTube, we get paid from YouTube. We're about 200-300 hours short of our YouTube hours that we need to be able to monetize on YouTube. So if you'll watch that documentary for us, we'd really appreciate it. And then share it with others so that they can watch it and get massive value for their speaking careers and businesses as well. I'd appreciate it. We're at Dr. Delatorro on all of our social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. So you can follow us on all of our social media platforms that way. We'd love to stay connected with you. And Larry, I'm going to pass it back over to you, champ. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Dr. Dell, I can say from the bottom of my heart, I can speak for everyone that attended. I'm already getting the text messages. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. You blessed us with just such amazing insights, such an amazing masterclass. And I just encourage everyone, whether you're here live or whether you're watching the recording, go ahead and tie in to Dr. Dell, because he's got so much more to offer you in your business. And we're just thankful that we had that time today. So thank you for blessing us. Day 2, week of speaker love.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Week of love.
We
Let's
appreciate
get you to
this.
monetization. We'll watch your YouTube.
Yes.
Thank
right.
you so much. I appreciate you guys. That means a lot.
We're
Thank
gonna
you so much,
support you.
guys.
Stay blessed, Dr. Dell. Thank you so much. We'll see everybody.
Bye.
Love you guys in the state of
Bye.
Carolinas. Talk to y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye now.